Friday's General Hospital spoilers are wild, and I need to say this right away. I am not okay because the Dante situation is turning into one of those impossible, soul-crushing messes that makes me want to scream at the screen. Dante knows Rocco is finally going to have to pay for shooting Cullum, and that alone is already a gut punch. But then you throw Jason into the mix, sitting in prison for something he did not even do, and suddenly this is not just drama anymore. This is a full-blown disaster spiral. How is Dante supposed to deal with that? How? Because if he does the right thing as a cop, he destroys his own son. If he protects his son, he betrays Jason. And honestly, I am staring at this like, excuse me, what exactly is the winning move here? There is none. There is no clean answer. That is what makes this so brutal. And what really gets me is that Dante may actually be forced to sacrifice his career. Let that sink in. This man may have to torch his entire future just to clean up the mess around Rocco and Jason. That is not a small decision. That is the kind of choice that splits a person right down the middle. And part of me is furious because this poor man keeps getting shoved into situations where every option is terrible. Another part of me is sitting here completely wrecked because, let's be honest, Dante has always felt like somebody trying to do the right thing, even when the universe keeps handing him garbage. I feel for him so hard. I really do. And if he ends up confessing to take the heat off his son, I would not even call that crazy. I would call that heartbreak with a badge. What makes this even messier is that Dante may finally open up to someone. And thank goodness, because he cannot hold all of this in forever without exploding. Lulu, Britt, Nathan, maybe even somebody else. They are all sitting there with at least some piece of the truth about Rocco. That matters. Dante needs someone who actually understands the emotional landmine he is standing on. I keep thinking, who is he most likely to trust in this moment? Lulu feels like the obvious emotional anchor, but Britt or Nathan could bring a different angle, more practical, more blunt, maybe even more honest than Dante wants to hear. And honestly, that might be exactly what he needs. Because right now, he does not need comfort alone. He needs a way out of the fire. Meanwhile, Rocco may be thinking about disappearing in secret. And whew, that one hits me differently. Because on one hand, I get it. Totally. If he leaves town quietly, maybe he stays alive. Maybe he avoids the revenge storm that is clearly building around him. Maybe he also saves Dante from having to make the impossible choice. But on the other hand, come on, this is such a desperate move. It feels like a kid trying to run from a wildfire with a paper cup of water. Does anyone actually think leaving town solves the root problem? No. It just delays the pain. And still, I cannot even fully blame him because fear makes people do strange, impulsive things, especially when the walls are closing in. Now, let us talk about Britt, because Britt is walking straight into the kind of storyline that has me clenched from the first second. She is apparently ready to leave town too, knowing she is not going to get any more treatment and that death is basically stalking her in the corner. That is devastating. Absolutely devastating. And the fact that Britt might decide to go with Rocco just adds another layer of chaos I did not ask for, but absolutely cannot ignore. I actually love this kind of uneasy bond because it feels raw, damaged, and painfully human. But I also need to say it. Britt and Rocco fleeing together sounds like the sort of plan that works beautifully for about 12 seconds before reality slams the door off its hinges. And then there is Lucas. Lucas may not want to stay in town either, which honestly, who could blame him? Too much pain, too many shocks, too many scars. It is like this town is chewing people up and spitting out the pieces. But if Britt, Rocco, and Luke guys try to bolt together, I am already sweating for them because one tiny slip and the whole thing collapses. One careless word, one wrong glance, one person overhearing something they should not, and boom, it is over. If Cullum's people or Sidwell catch wind of it, this little escape fantasy becomes a nightmare very, very fast. And yes, I said nightmare because that is what it is. Not a getaway, not a rescue, not a fresh start. A nightmare. They could end up trapped, captured, and honestly, maybe even become the next prisoners in the mess, just like Jocelyn. That is the part that makes this storyline feel so suffocating. There is no room to breathe. Speaking of Jocelyn, I am fascinated and stressed at the same time, which is a dangerous combo for me. She may be thinking she could die in this place, and that changes everything. Suddenly, survival is not about pride or fairness or doing things the honorable way. It is about outsmarting the danger in front of her. And yes, that may mean she has to use every bit of charm and strategy she has, possibly even going after Cassius. Do I trust that plan? Not really. Do I understand why she would try it? Absolutely. Sometimes survival is ugly. Sometimes it is messy and manipulative and a little desperate. And that is what makes it work as a soap plot, because it is not neat. It is chaos with mascara on. Will it work? I do not know. But I am very much in the show me the fallout camp. Then we have Tracy. And oh, Tracy finding out something is exactly the kind of thunderclap I love in a storyline. Because when Tracy gets suspicious, nobody is safe. Nobody. She may uncover something tied to Brooklyn. Maybe that accident story is about to crack wide open. Or maybe she finds out about Chase and Willow. And if that is the case, I already know Tracy is going to go nuclear. She is not the type to shrug and move on. No way. She will want justice, revenge, answers, possibly all three at once. And honestly, I am here for it. I live for Tracy when she is offended on behalf of family, because that is when the temperature in the room rises by 20 degrees. Does she always handle it gracefully? Absolutely not. Do I care? Also, no. Laura is dealing with her own brand of dread too. And yes, I am worried about her because Sidwell is clearly up to something slimy. Laura noticing his movement is exactly the kind of detail that makes me sit up straighter. She sees the pattern. She feels the danger. She knows something is off. And the problem with people like Sidwell is that the moment they realize they are being watched, they become even more dangerous. That is the razor edge here. Laura can investigate, sure, but she is also stepping closer to a very nasty trap. I hate that for her. I really do. She deserves better than being dragged into another shadow game by somebody with bad intentions and a smug little plan. And then there is Turner and Sunny. Now this one has me staring blankly at the ceiling because apparently stress relief has entered the chat in the most soap opera way possible. They may end up in bed together, and I just need everyone to pause and appreciate the sheer soap energy of that. It is giving pressure, release, poor judgment, and consequences all in one package. Then Sunny wants to figure out how to make things right with Rick, which, okay, good luck with that. And apparently Sunny may need Turner's advice because Turner seems to know more about reconciliation. That part actually makes me laugh a little because imagine needing relationship strategy from the person who just tangled up in the chaos. This is peak soap logic, and I am not even mad about it. So, yeah, that is where my head is at. Dante is trapped. Rocco is running. Britt is facing the end. Lucas may walk away. Jocelyn is fighting to survive. Tracy is about to explode. Laura is circling danger. Sunny is trying to smooth over a mess. And I am sitting here like, who approved this level of emotional damage? Honestly, this episode feels like one of those domino setups where the first tap sends everything crashing down. And I am not prepared for how loud that fall is going to be. Anyone else feeling personally attacked by this?
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.